Before we get to the charts, I did a Twitter Spaces on Friday, which is essentially me talking for an hour about my full trading journey and first Twitter Spaces I've ever done. So curious if you find it useful and would like to tune in for more, pretty much putting some feelers out. So putting the link in the comments of this video, give it a listen. Hey traders, checking in on the stock market today. So the S&P 500 and the bulls showed up in a big way. We've had a lot of back and forth. All bulls all day Thursday, all bears all day Friday, all bulls all day today. And that's impressive coming from the bulls after getting smacked down. Essentially, psychologically, what's going on is, gap down on CPI reaction, bulls take over. All right, we got momentum, temporary bottom set, a lot of bull volume. Friday just completely sucks the wind out of the sail of the bulls and smacks them right back down with a big red day across the board. And for the bulls to then come back from that and respond the way they did today, my screen was full of 5-6% green days for big market cap names. It is impressive. So the big question overnight is this going to be an equilibrium and fail to break the high of Friday and continue tightening up to start the week? Or can the bulls break resistance and confirm bounce follow through? We've got earnings this week. We've got Netflix tomorrow, Tesla Wednesday. So starting to get into heavy earnings season. And today was a vote for me of looking towards futures trading, because you look at this move and by the time we open today, we're already significantly into this move. You show me this chart on Friday and I tell you the most likely scenario is a 4-hour higher low. And there's no sign of it being set because we closed very weak. And then by the time the bell rings this morning, we are already how much off of that low? Long story short is I can't make a bull entry up here at that point because we are already 2% off that low. So the signal was a 15-minute downtrend with bears lacking follow through. Futures open Sunday night. And it's the kind of scenario where, as soon as we break 15-minute resistance, you put in a bottom fish play, put your stop under that low, and that's either the 4-hour higher low and you nail it for a big win, or you stop out and are wrong for a small loss. But no chance for that kind of setup with waiting for regular hours today. So if we're going to see a 4-hour lower high set, we have to see 15-minute weakness. The bulls have been grinding 15-minute EMA 12 all day. So bulls have control as long as the 15-minute uptrend remains. And we are keeping those 15-minute higher lows intact for now. That has to change for the 4-hour lower high to shape up. Trading today, I stopped out of a bear attempt first thing this morning. It was just a really extended move on the short-term time frames, and I ended up making a bear entry. I forget exactly what it was, but made a bear entry, exited half the position real quick on a pullback, re-entered the half position when we saw follow through as far as still remaining extremely extended, and then stopped out. I think it was once 366 broke, I stopped out, half day loser to start the week. So, all right, that's my aggressive bear attempt, no longer looking to be aggressive and need to be patient. So then from there, scouted a little head and shoulders pattern. Let's look at the 2-minute here on SPY, and it was this little 2-minute lower high. I re-entered that short, and we ended up pulling back and confirming the head and shoulders. I then zoomed out. I exited a third of that short at 15-minute EMA 12 support, and then exited enough, didn't stop out of the remaining 2/3 positions, and exited enough at the end of the day to just be flat into overnight. So all in all, a fairly uneventful day. I did trade CGC bearish as well. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But the majority of the move, or at least the comfort, the good risk reward entry for the move took place Sunday night when futures opened. So the Nasdaq's the same thing. 4-hour, are we going to reject from resistance and form an equilibrium, or can we break resistance overnight? 15-minute, also maintaining EMA 12 support and strength, and we're up near the highs here right after hours. So bulls keeping the short-term control. So watching close. Overnight. I care more about overnight tonight than I have in a while, just because it's a key resistance approaching. The dollar, daily consolidation continues. So here's a tightening range on the dollar. Anything above 110.05 is a daily high or low. Watching for the possibility of a continued tightening range. But what stands out as notable to me, I've said it 100 times, you've heard me say, I'm watching weekly EMA 12. Okay, that's my guide, but I can say that the dollar just formed a weekly lower high for the first time in over a year. Since this entire move started a long time ago, or is it now 16 months ago, we have not formed a weekly lower high at any point. Every bounce led to higher highs once a support was established. So here, a support is established and it's not heading to higher highs. Does that mean we're going to roll over and this is the dollar top? We can't have that confidence. But a real aggressive market bull looking to buy fear is looking at this and saying, okay, that's my first signal to start acting. And then maybe, if we break support, then they add to positions that they've already initiated. But for me, I'm not that aggressive at this point, but I'm definitely keeping an eye open for long bull entries in a lot of places, whether it's silver and miners, or whether it's stocks for the IRA, or whether it's crypto looking for a bit of a bounce. So I'm paying attention, and we've got all about 110.05. Are we going to tighten up? It's the same question. The S&P 500 futures, we're going to get the answer within the next 12 hours, even less. But we're not going to get the answer to this daily tightening range on the dollar. It may take into next week. So there's a ton of tightening ranges in this market forming right now, but they're doing so on different time frames. Bitcoin's been tightening up for a month. Semiconductors still weaker. Inside bar Friday, inside bar today. And I say still weaker just because we didn't come close to breaking high of Friday resistance. And we can also look at SMH divided by QQQ, and it will show us that it's still weaker. It's at the weakest it has been in many months. So semiconductors are weak, and SMH just watching a very tight range. I can say pretty confidently that SMH is going to see more volatility tomorrow than today, because these two inside bars are going to break tomorrow with 98.7% confidence. If it's a bear break, our daily lower high is quickly set at 184.19, and if it's a bull break, our daily lower high is not set yet. Healthcare, still heading up, didn't break the high of Friday, but keeping this daily bounce going, 127.55, so I care about two levels here, 126.40 and 127.55. We would have to fail 127.55 and lose the hourly uptrend to reject from resistance into daily consolidation. But I believe that we've seen enough of a bounce in some names the last 3 days that bulls are going to be fairly aggressively looking for daily higher lows next consolidation. It depends on earnings reactions as well, but I know I'm personally going to make an attempt. I'm going to add to my IRA on SPY's next consolidation on the daily, and I will use a stop without a ton of wiggle room, but just enough to add a bit more. I don't want to find any kind of bottom, even if it's just a bottom for a few weeks. My IRA is too much cash for that at this point. So I do want a bit more exposure to equities. Financial sector didn't break the high of Friday. Same thing. Daily resistance. We've got 32.19, the high of Friday. Then we got 32.37 behind it. Potential for an inverse head and shoulders, where if we don't break resistance, we can still set up a trend change on the daily. And both healthcare and the financial sector have that setup. We're through a good chunk of financial sector earnings. There's still a few more to go, but a lot of the major names have already reported. IWM didn't break the high of Friday. So again, I'm just viewing all these names as tightening ranges where we've got low, high, higher, low. Anything under 174.45 is a lower high. Maybe we continue tightening up into tomorrow. Bears have to show up in extended hours on the futures charts to reject from resistances for that to continue to shape up. If the bulls keep going, we care about 173.92 or the future, the after hours level. We care about 174.45 and 176.17, our weekly lower high. a lot of these charts are weekly bear flags that confirmed with zero follow through. And I've learned over the years, look for reversals when that happens. Certainly natural gas, how many times have we seen that happen? But SPY and QQQ right now are weekly bear flags that confirmed with no follow through. Biotech sector is a step ahead in the trend change game just because we held the low of the end of September where most names broke support. Still didn't break the high of Friday, but we have the possibility, the biotech sector, if we break 83.51, we're at the highest price that we've seen in a month. And if we compare that with SPY has, a bit further to go. We need another 4% plus of upside. I guess it's not a huge difference, but just a little bit closer to a resistance break in the biotech sector. A lot of volume came in at the end of the day there for the bulls. A lot of volume. Solar sector, notable weakness. So remember, it was a lead bull, and then it turned into a laggard bear, and now it's not really participating. We actually tested the low of Friday today, and nobody else that I was looking at was close to the low of Friday. So it's a potential daily bear flag still, and just relative weakness still. And again, we got to keep an eye on everybody's earnings. If you're swing trading anything, peers are going to react. So Amazon and Disney are going to react to Netflix earnings tomorrow. Just keep all that in mind. So CGC had a news spike today, and cannabis sector is susceptible to news spikes, especially as we head into the midterms and we head into individual states voting. And we know Biden came out with that news spike that was short-lived a couple of weeks ago. And so my mindset is, the way I'm trading the sector, if I see a volume spike, I enter long just right away, and then I look to find the news just because I'm willing to risk, the potential that it's a quick spike that putters out that I just sell for, an acceptable loss if it's meaningless news. But I'm buying first and asking questions later as far as, I pretty much got my reasoning for doing that with the last spike that saw 35% in an hour in some of these names and gave some really nice gains. So today, that's what I did. Saw the volume, I mark it by MSOS, and then see the headline is nothing new, nothing notable. I recognize MSOS double topped at the high of Friday by a penny. And so I exited 2 pennies higher, pretty much break even. But then I looked short because I saw the headline. I don't even know, Senator Booker says we might pass something. Okay, great. You've been saying that for 18 years. Shut up. Anyways, I looked for the short. So I attempted to short at 264. No, I made my first entry at 262 and I stopped out on this new high, but very quickly hopped right back in on a second attempt just because I was keeping that risk small by trying to top fish the high of the day at that point. And my second entry was at 264 and we then rolled over. I exited everything before live streaming with crypto. Did get another solid leg down, but I will continue to short these names as long as they are weaker and as long as it's not notable news. And we know bears got rewarded in a huge way for shorting the legitimate, news that bulls could actually get excited about. So if it's a nothing burger, definitely looking short. That's my mindset for the sector with where we stand currently. Silver, 4-hour trend change attempt. So if I'm looking bullish here, I'm looking to enter a position or two and maybe put a stop under the low. And if the bulls can confirm a 4-hour trend change, the daily bounce is underway and I have a really nice entry. And we then scout a daily lower high to be the result of that bounce. But again, just thinking bigger picture, watching this base of support try and hold, watching to see if the dollar is going to top out. Still need more information, but just some very early signs. Miners are going to be looking for an hourly higher low compared to the double bottom of 27.69 GDXJ. So again, I'm just viewing this as a low, high, higher low, lower high, scouting an hourly higher low compared to 27.69. Oil not doing much. No sign of a daily higher low yet. Bulls need the inverse head and shoulders on the weekly to confirm if we're going to see monthly bounce follow through. And natural gas is still all bears. Tight sideways range, unable to get over daily EMA 12 and seeing another leg down and heading towards 528 support. in daily oversold, right? Getting right back to daily oversold conditions. So overall, tons of volatility the last few days, but a little bit tricky. At least I'm finding it a little bit tricky with how we are opening the morning and where we are positioned at that time. So the last few days are definitely a nudge for me, get towards that futures trading where you don't have to worry about limited windows of trading. You got a much wider window of trading to place orders and stop losses and try and let these most likely scenarios on longer term time frames play out without having to worry about gaps in charts and things like that. So someday I definitely will do that. We'll see when. Hope you had a good day. Again, bulls trying to prove some bounce follow through. It's just a short-term question of equilibrium or bull break overnight tonight. And we're going to continue watching that dollar very closely. All right, feel free to ask any questions. Hope you had a great weekend, and we will see you tomorrow. Do good things.
Almost walked right into this guy. It's pretty big. Probably about 5 inches from head to butt. It's staring me down.